Hey everybody, this is Ray for Yankee Teddy Bear, and today's video we're going to try to go a little bit faster. I know some of my past videos have gone a little bit long, but I did want to talk about hunting for a place to live, especially if you're still far away, like in my case I was in the States. So it's not as hard as it might seem, but you do have to be very careful and very attention to detail at every step. So we'll talk about rent versus buy. In my case, I didn't want to buy a place and get locked into a contract right away. I wanted that flexibility, at least for the first year. To me, it was just worth having that flexibility to rent versus buy during the first year. So my agent that I was very happy with, she's actually the wife of an old high school classmate of mine, is Joy. And Joy would be more than happy to help you as well if you're interested in trying to find a place in Cebu or anywhere in the Philippines. So she's not limited to Cebu, but that's obviously where she calls home. And she works for this realty company. So if you want to just browse their listings, you can find that online at their website. I'm kind of lazy in that aspect. I'll look at some websites. I tend to drive agents crazy and look at stuff on Craigslist and then turn around and forward it back to my agent and say, what about this place? The problem with that, especially with rentals, is you have to bear in mind that, especially in the Philippines, obviously these agents work off of commission. You know, they don't get paid until a transaction is successful. In the case of rentals, it's almost impossible for an agent working on behalf of a renter to get paid commission. And that's because the commission is paid to the landlord's agent, and they get 1 month of rent traditionally. And unless those two agents are within the same agency, which rarely happens, they're not going to be cooperative. And that rental agent is not going to want to share or split his commission. So I've actually found several times where there were ideal properties on Craigslist, and I would forward them to Joy, and she was more than happy to take a peek at it. But in every case, it came back that the other agent did not want to work with an agent. They would only work with people directly because they did not want to have to share their commission. But so yeah, Craigslist there in the Philippines, it is used somewhat. OLX is used a lot as well. So there's a whole slew of websites out there that you can use. But in most cases, it just made more work for my agent than it did really help. So when you do meet with your agent, here's some important things to make sure that you get off your chest, and you want to make each of these points very, very clear at the start so that they can most efficiently work with this. First, just be very clear. Hey, I'm not looking to buy anything. Here's my reasons why. I appreciate if you may know some good places, or maybe your agency is in on this tower or that tower. That's just not for me right now. I'm renting, or if you're buying, tell them exactly what your reasons are. Second, be very clear on, try to set both a target price and then also a maximum price. So I went to her and I said, okay, I would love to spend this much only. So if we can find that kind of a place, that's super awesome. But I would consider, if they had all these extras, this would be the absolute max that I can do. And that will help them a lot and save them a lot of headache later on in finding stuff that isn't a good match for you. Then be very clear on what you have to have. So in my case, I told her, I said, look, I have to have the option to do laundry. I know that their laundry services are cheap there. I'm just weird about doing my own laundry. I would rather buy my own wash machine or whatever it's going to take. I want to only consider a unit where doing the laundry myself is an option. And then I said, ideally, if we move into must-haves, or nice-to-haves, I'm sorry, I said it would be nice if it was a 2-bedroom unit so I could use 1 bedroom as an office. It would be nice if it had the appliances already in it, but unfurnished is okay. It comes to a price trade-off, etc. So be very clear on what you have to have, and then be very clear on what you would like to also have, but those second items are somewhat negotiable. And then be very clear on what the deal breakers are. For me, I was kind of a unique challenge for my agent in that, as I mentioned in a previous video, internet speed was huge to me. My agent was great at finding some other units that initially we thought were going to be even below my target price, and had 2 bedrooms, and it was on a high floor and all these great things. And then we looked into the internet part, and I hadn't been clear with my agent up front, which is why I stress that. And we came to find out that that tower was only able to get the standard DSL service for 5, 10 at most megabit per second service, and that was a deal breaker for me. So while it was a dream place from all the other criteria, we had to wait. So I got lucky. We found all the must-haves. We found most of the nice-to-haves, and it avoided all the deal breakers. It just took an extra week or two, but she was very careful and very thorough in finding that. And that then comes to the last topic. You tell them if you have specific areas that you want to stay close to and why. And again, make that clear if that's going to be a deal breaker or not. I told them I'd like to be close to Ayala, and I'd like to be close to the Cebu IT Park, but neither of those were gotta-haves. And I told her I would consider a rental home if it wasn't too far out in the province, and if it magically was able to get the internet speed that I needed, then great. So the more options you give them, the more flexibility you give them, the easier time they're going to have in finding you a place. But just be very clear up front what you need to have and what's optional. I cannot stress that enough. It will save you a lot of time. So once all those criteria are locked in, it's time for the good old-fashioned house hunting. And bear in mind the time difference. If you're here in the States, be prepared to stay up later in the evening so you can have that overlap time with your agent. Recognize that they have a lot of other clients in most cases that they're dealing with. You're not the only person on the planet. Americans tend to be very pushy, and we need to have updates on a frequent basis. And why haven't I heard back from them today? It was just yesterday when we talked, or whatever it may be. So have that balance of being patient but also trying to stay in touch, and I think you'll be a lot happier with the results. One thing to stress, and the reason I show this graphic, make sure, if at all possible, that you get a detailed floor plan of the unit, since you obviously in most cases can't be there. Now in my case, my agent took a lot of pictures. When we thought we had a good match, she would obviously make an appointment to go view it. She took my buddy with her, and my buddy took a ton of pictures while she focused on talking with the agent. So the floor plan is very helpful when you're trying to decide, how much room do I have in this room, and can I fit this kind of furniture here, and trying to get an idea. But just as important, if they are able to take pictures for you, above and beyond the few pictures that a listing agent may put on their website, that can be huge. So in both of the viewings that my agent did, they took no less than 25-30 pictures to give a very good feel from almost every direction of both floors, because mine's a split level loft. So I had a very good idea what the look and feel of the place was without ever having set foot there. So in my case, I have a unit, I've wired the funds, the unit's been paid for. I had to pay 2 months worth of deposit, and then the first month's rent up front. So the next steps will be, in my case, I'm running down to a local place here in the States to get some Balak Biang boxes and decide what I'm going to need to carry with me and what I'm going to go ahead and just ship via these boxes for the lower cost, and probably put most of my household items in probably 2 Balak Biang boxes and ship them over. So I hope that was helpful. If you liked this, make sure you hit the like button down below. If you have any feedback or you want to share some of your own experiences with both myself and anybody else who reads these, please leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts. That being said, this is Ray for Yankee Teddy Bear. Whatever you do, I hope you have the best in luck in doing it and be a great person. Have a good day.